Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Amii from TERRA, and we are getting ready for a very exciting event that is officially ongoing right now this weekend at our TERRA stores, and it is
Hot N Saucy.
Hot N Saucy.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously that leads us to some really hot pepper plants that some people are just yearning to get. People are fighting and clamoring for some of these.
Yes, people wait for this release all year.
It's pretty funny. So we're talking some really high levels of heat from some of these, right?
Yes. I'm sort of a jalapeno type girl, so some of these are
way beyond.
Way beyond. Yeah.
But some people like to tear up and sweat when they're eating.
Some people.
They get real joy out of this. And again, obviously we know in your garden you can really yield quite a few peppers when you're growing them. So it's great. They grow quickly and you get a lot of them. So this is a bonus for many people. So where shall we start with this? Because
let's start with hot peppers.
Yes.
It's a hot and saucy event, so it's an all edible event, but really focusing on the tomatoes and the peppers, the hot and the saucy. Okay. So we have about 40 varieties of peppers, and most of them are hot. So there's your basic, your green pepper, your red pepper, and so on. And then once you get outside of that box, it's all different kinds of spicy, and kind of starting like a jalapeno would be on the low end, about 6,000 Scoville units, just to give you an idea. And then the hottest pepper this year is this Reaper pepper, and it's 2.2 million Scoville units. So if that gives you an idea of the comparison between the two of them.
So, you know, people are using these for salsas and
sauces, hot sauces,
making their own hot sauce.
You see them in the restaurants too. The release of the ghost pepper a couple of years ago, and now you see that being used in different restaurants now in the sauces and burritos and things like that. So
it's really kind of become a little bit more relevant up here. We're seeing it a lot more.
Yes, we are.
In our neck of the woods. It's you know, we've always had those people who love hot sauces and that type of thing, but really more and more people are. I have managed to branch out a little bit more.
Have you?
And it's a gradual thing. Since I was a child, I can take a little bit more heat each time. But some of this is extreme.
It's extreme. But definitely for the hobbyist and for someone who does cook and will actually use it, very cool.
Right. Yeah. So we have people that are showed up to our store really early, like this morning.
People come and wait for these peppers. So this was the release of them this weekend. We do have a limited amount of certain varieties of them, but it's exciting. Come and get them now. Have them.
Now you have a few different.
There's just all different kinds. Like our edible line is gigantic. We have about 40 varieties of peppers and about the same of tomatoes.
Okay. So what's this guy though? This is a purple.
That's a purple pepper. So that's just really a purple pepper.
Just mild.
Yeah. Purple pepper. There's chili peppers there. There's a banana pepper down there. So really all different kinds of peppers, all different kinds of tomatoes, some neat heirloom tomatoes.
I love heirloom tomatoes.
Different colored, purple, black, rainbow, all kinds of.
And those are great for salads.
They look so pretty.
They do look so pretty.
They look great.
Right? So, and again, we have all these different types of plants here as well. So we're talking about the edibles.
Yes.
But
huge edible line here at TERRA.
Which is okay. So I was really surprised here, but I was like, what is that? That's an avocado plant.
Avocado. There's a fig right here. We've got some tomatoes. I've even got a lime trio, like a little lime bush right here. That one there. So we've got all kinds of citrus, exotic fruits this year. There's even things like the cheddar cauliflower, which is like the cauliflower that's orange and things like that. So there's some really fun edibles. There's great ones to like do with the kids and easy ones and things like that. So
well, it is really a great thing to do with your kids, is to teach them how to garden.
Yes.
And you know, people are trying to do more and more of this themselves. And the best part is that you can grow them in containers, so you can have a garden even if you only have a balcony or a patio.
Absolutely. Actually, one thing that we're doing this weekend at the Hot N Saucy event is you can come in and you can select a combination of herbs and edibles, and we'll pot them up for you. So you can actually build your own container garden. We'll do the dirty work, and you get to pick what you want.
So you pick out the container, and then you pick out all the different plants that you want, and you guys make it look great.
We'll help you pick things that grow well together or don't, or grow well in containers, etc. But
and that, and I think that's where it would stop people. Some people aren't sure what they can grow in containers. As you say, some things don't necessarily like being planted near each other.
Yeah, there's certain things that don't, but I say it's part of the fun. Like, be creative, have fun. You'll learn. Some things will do better than others, etc. But I mean, vegetables are fairly easy to grow, and they're super rewarding. Like, to be able to go out and actually just pick your own basil, your own lettuce, like.
Right, and you know, when it comes down to it as well, then you know what you're eating too,
yes,
right?
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
You've been in charge of it growing from the moment.
Yeah.
So let's talk from a little bit about the soil as well. You want to make sure that you have the proper soil when you're growing vegetables.
Yeah, it's important because obviously that's where they're getting their nutrients. So if you're planting into a container, it is good to use just a container soil so that it's not holding too much moisture and rotting in a pot. So you want to make sure it's a container mixture. There's different ones that you can use for vegetables that are, for instance, an organic soil versus a non-organic soil.
Right.
And everyone has different preferences when it comes to something like that. When you're planting into the ground, what's important is just making sure your soil is good soil, it's has nutrients in it. So by adding things like compost or turning in some fresh triple mix or loosening it up and stuff like that.
Because you are feeding you're feeding a plant.
You know, and then yourself.
So. Exactly, and then yourself. So it all really does. You need to think about each step.
Yes.
So that also brings us, of course, to to fertilizers as well.
Yes.
Do you use a fertilizer or don't you?
Yeah.
Do you need to?
And everybody has a different preference. Sometimes I do. I'll use, for instance, the bone meal. So that's something that's an organic thing that you can amend into your soil. That's something I always start with.
Okay. So what is that going to provide for the plant?
It's just going to help it set its roots, basically. It gives it a good root system for the plant.
Okay.
And then a lot of vegetables, when you first plant them, you might want to use a transplant fertilizer. Some people do, some people don't. You will be successful in both. In both situations. And then there's different types of fertilizers that you can use. Some people will use compost, and that's something that you amend to the soil ahead of time. Some people use manures. You can use like a shake and feed. This is a slow release fertilizer here. So that's like the little granules that go kind of on the top of the soil.
This is great. This is so easy too.
Yeah, and releases over time. And then there's the one that you mix with water, which is the one just right here. So mix with water. And good. I mean, all fruits and vegetables are trying to do the same thing. You're trying to produce the fruit or the vegetable on the plant. So that's what these fertilizers are meant to do. So they help you do that.
They help you do that, yeah. Because if you just leave it to its own devices, you're not going to yield what you want to yield.
I would say you'd probably yield more. You're not going to get no yield if you don't fertilize.
Really? So if you just planted it and you didn't have anything at all?
You're still going to get something. That's why I say it's so rewarding, and anybody can do it.
That's a good tip. Yes. So the event is on all day today, rest of the day, all day tomorrow.
Yes.
People can come out and get into, maybe some different things.
Yeah, we have some great variety, some really neat, cool things. It's worth the trip.
And if you want to do a planter size, then that's the best way, and let you guys take care of it.
Small spaces, lots of containers.
So much fun, and just so many options. And again, what I love is that you can grow your own limes. You can grow an apple tree. You can grow.
Yeah, you can grow an apple tree in a container. There's so many different things that we can do with edibles right now.
Go figure. You can grow your own avocados. It might take a while, but you can do it.
You can do it. Yes.
I love it. Thank you, Amii. Good information. And again, make sure you do be part of this Hot and Saucy event. It's always fun. If you weren't up nice and early this morning, some of these Reaper ones might be gone. I got to tell you, you got to hurry down here. That's it for now. Thank you so much. We'll be back with more Terra at home after this.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning. Welcome back to Terra at Home. I'm here with Tanya at Snuggle Bugz, a little baby store here in Burlington, actually a very big baby store. Nice to see you again,
Good
Tanya.
to see you again.
Okay, so it is spring officially, and we're getting into the warmer weather. We want to get outside, especially for those moms who've been inside all winter.
Yeah.
This long, long winter. I had one of those myself, and
me too, actually.
you did too.
Couple.
Yeah, a couple. So you just want to get out, right?
Yeah.
You want to get that baby outside and just feel like you're a human being again, right?
Yeah, I remember like when spring hit, I would go for the longest walks ever because I want to get out, and the babies want to get out too. They want the fresh air and all
Absolutely.
that.
It just makes everybody feel good, right?
Exactly.
So we're going to show kind of some interesting tools and apparatus
Yeah.
and great little items that you can have to incorporate for both mom and for baby.
Yep.
And for dad too, right?
Exactly.
Dad, you know, so there's a lot of stay-at-home daddies these days as well. So we're going to start off on this side of things, and of course, if we're getting out and about, we need to have some transportation.
Yes, definitely.
For the baby.
Yeah, so this one here is a fabulous stroller. Now we have it set up in its 2 baby mode. It comes as a single, but the great thing about this is that you can put a second child later. So when you're buying your first stroller, you don't have to worry about having to buy a second later.
Bonus.
Both babies can sit, and as you can see, they can face outwards, but they can both face forward, both face mom or dad.
That's a great idea.
And then, so you get a lot of versatility with that.
Right, right.
And then there's also a bassinet, which is fantastic because I use my bassinet all the time. Baby needs to lay down as much as possible versus crunched up in a car seat or something.
Yep.
So that seat will sit up top really nicely
and this
for baby.
is all compatible with one.
Yeah, one stroller.
Amazing stroller.
All really works well, all that fun
Very
stuff.
good. And this is absolutely imperative. This is one of those really important things that people invest in, and because you're going to be using it for a few years, especially if you're having a couple of kids, this is very important. You want to make sure
you want one you're comfortable with, that's smooth, all that
Yes,
fun
and
stuff.
that you can use and you know how to take apart. Nothing like open up your trunk out at the shopping mall and not knowing how to put your stroller together.
Just throw it in all as one big unit. Yeah,
exactly. But you guys are good that way. You'll help people learn how to put them together too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also, of course, with
it's spring.
It's spring, so it gets a little messy. So we need some.
It's the cutest little rain boots. So I love these stone boots because they do a lot of fun colors too. So like this pair here, my little girl has because she's a bit of a pink fanatic. But just a really good boot, never seeps through, and then matches with some pretty cute little raincoats and that type of thing also.
All kinds of, and that's the thing with raincoats, they're just so cute. I think the moms can have just as much fun buying them.
Well, I know, like this one has like little ladybug heads, so when they put the hood up, and even the pockets, they put little ladybugs.
So cute.
So it's a very, very
and
cute
what I like about these as well is that they're warm on the inside, because we know sometimes the climate isn't exactly, so it might be raining, but it's cold. Right. So this is good. So also we have some really, one thing we were talking about, I cannot believe how cool the diaper bags are now.
Well, we can kind of use them for a purse afterwards too,
which
is so nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, this is just gorgeous. It's totally on trend, but again, you would never know. And if you can transition it through to being just your own bag later on, that's fine.
Which is nice.
Completely worn it out by then. But again, really imperative of having a good diaper bag because you need
lots of fun pockets, but something that you don't feel like you've kind of lost your fashion sense while you're a mom. You get to still look cool and have something that's functional. Nice.
I think it's also important too. You hear a lot of dads say, "Well, I don't, I want a bag that I'm okay with carrying too."
Right.
Because often the dad is carrying it as well, right? So
definitely.
there are some ones that are just
there's some very neutral, and I mean, I liked having two because I wanted my fashion piece, and then Dad got his cute little one for himself. But
that's all. Dad has his own baby bag. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go down to this area
for
down
sure.
here.
So this here is our, it's a little pea or go pod, and it just allows baby to be able to sit in it. You can put cups in the front, but the great thing about it is it folds up small. So it has a little case, and you can just put it over your shoulder and carry it around. So I was on vacation. I saw these pop up everywhere by the parents, lawn chairs and stuff by the pool, and the baby would sit there, fully protected, cute hat on, but
that's what's good about this company. They really do make things that just kind of go up into a little bag, right?
And I mean, you're going to the park with your child. Take this. They can sit there while your older children are running around playing soccer or whatever.
And you can see that even taking that camping too, because a lot of times people want to get out because they have, other older children, they want to be able to do things.
Exactly, and this is perfect for that. And it just folds up like your typical camp chair.
Love that. That's actually a really good idea. Now, also another a device that's very imperative as well is the carrying device. And there are so many different ones over the years, and they've really come up with a good idea, because what happens with these is that the baby needs to be comfortable, and the mommy or daddy needs to be comfortable.
Right? And you really have to try on a lot of carriers to make sure it's a perfect fit for you also, versus just the one that your friends told you to
get. So we have Christy, and Christy has Little baby.
Yeah. So she has a baby in one of the ergo carriers. This is a 360. Okay. So what's really nice about that is that it has baby can face inward, baby can face outward, baby can go on your hip. So there's a lot of versatility with this one. So baby is always comfortable.
Okay.
The other nice thing is that it has the wide part along the bottom here. So that there just gives all the weight is supported on hips versus your back, which is kind of typical of what us women would rather carry on.
Yes.
So it gives a lot of support on the back, but really carries the weight on the hips.
And that's it. There are so many different ones. And we've seen the ones that are just the wrap ones, right? Which, you know, some people...
And those are great for different stages too.
Different stages.
Something like this is from birth straight up until, I think, now I might be wrong slightly, but about 30, 35 pounds. It really does go for a long time.
Okay, that's good. And that, again, I remember when I was buying one, I was thinking, I don't know which one to get because there's so, as you say, but this one is so versatile, and that's what you want, is you want the versatility. Being able to, because some babies actually don't want to be facing in.
Right, some want to be out, and that's the nice thing about this. They can face out when they get older, more inquisitive, trying to figure out a little bit about their world and stuff too.
And a lot of babies like to be carried, so this is a great way for mom to have her hands free or and be able to, you know, you'll see them at the grocery store. Okay, baby's good in here. Baby doesn't want to be away from mom in the grocery cart. Baby
they
wants
want to be with mom.
You know, because they've been used to that for so long. So this is and you guys have a whole bunch of different ones.
Yeah, and we try them on to make sure you get the right fit for you versus just the one that you have heard about or whatever. We'll find the one that fits you and
go
baby
to, like,
perfect.
baby salsa in them and stuff.
Yes, you can. Did you do that?
I totally did that.
That's awesome.
Jack was the only baby that wouldn't sleep, of course. Wide awake, not sleeping.
I love it.
Causing chaos. But again, a really good device. Now, we were obviously, we want to show something that's kind of fun because we were talking about this Kid & Co, the little portable thing there, but this is actually really neat because this is actually a tent.
Right, and I use this on vacations with my children. We use it at home in the backyard. It's fully UV protected, that type of thing. But, okay, the fun of it is here. It literally, boop,
just like that.
Just pops right up.
And how fun is this? Now again, this isn't just for camping or whatever.
No.
This is like, because I have the bigger one that comes up quite high for Jack, and he just goes and sits and plays in it.
My kids would read in it.
Yes.
We would set it up in the living room and they'd just sit in there and read it. It was their like little place. But the nice thing is they're used to it. So now when we take it outside in the backyard, they're fully UV protected. They're safe. The bugs can't get at them if we zip it up. It's all that fun stuff too.
Yeah, it's just so cute because as you say, kids like to be in a safe little haven. Like it's their own little cozy spot to be in, right?
Yeah.
So many things to look at in this store, and of course you have Nestled next door as well. And again, it's just everything baby. And what's great is that you know, all of you have experience and the advice, and that's what moms need and dads need because we really don't know what to get.
I know.
As you lead up, what do we need before baby comes, and then what do we need after baby comes?
And it can be overwhelming. So that's try and help along the way as much as we can.
Very good. You guys are doing well. Thanks for all the advice and all the cool new product because it's always, all the new stuff's always coming out.
Something new.
That's it for now. We'll have more Terra at home after this.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning. Welcome back to Terra at Home. We're back here with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra Restaurant in Hamilton, and we have all the signs of spring, and just with you seeing asparagus and peas, and we're making a risotto today.
Correct. Yeah. So this is a nice springtime risotto. Local asparagus, fresh peas taken out of the pods. We're going to add a little bit of sparkling wine to this, and a little bit of some fresh thyme out of our container there. So it's a really nice springtime risotto. And you'll find this risotto exactly is made heavily at the springtime in Europe.
Oh, really?
In Italy. Yes,
Oh, so
they
this is like-
love this.
So we have Mother's Day next weekend, so this would actually be a really nice dish to make because you can make a lot of it,
Yes.
right? Which is great if you're having family over. This is and again, as you're saying, you're using all of what represents spring.
Exactly.
Okay,
Nice
sounds
and
fun.
light, you know, and you just got a little bit of butter. It's going to be white other than just the 2 green vegetables. So a really nice, clear looking risotto.
You using all this cheese today?
We could. We could
You
use
brought
it.
a little bit of cheese with them
We-
today. Hilarious.
We bring it along. I never want to run out of cheese.
Right. You never want to be in that position.
Yeah, you never run short on cheese. So to start off our risotto, what we're going to do is we're going to take some onion and we're going to dice it. We're going to put it into our pan with some oil, and we're going to take our boreal rice and we're going to sweat it out.
Okay.
Okay? So this is what the rice looks like in the package. It'll come back packed, and you're going to want to get that in with those onions.
Okay.
And all we're doing, like I said, is sweating this out. So what we're doing is we're giving the outside of the rice grain a bit of a crispiness. So it's getting a little bit of a crust so that when you add your stock, it doesn't burst on you. Okay?
So it's not going to just absorb it all into the little grain.
That's right. And it
Okay.
keeps it nice and firm, and you don't just end up with a big pan of mush.
Right, because that's the thing with risotto. There is a certain consistency that just makes it just perfect. You're right. It has to have that little chew to it, right?
That's right.
not
It still has to be al dente.
Yeah.
It's exactly like you would do a pasta. It still has to be al dente, still have a bite.
Okay.
And the other key to making risotto, and I think I've said this on the show before, is you have to make sure that your stock is at the temperature that you're cooking in. You do not want to add cold stock. It's just like taking a glass bowl out of an oven and throwing it into snow. It's going to crack. This is too much. It's too much pressure to go from cold stock into a hot pan.
Okay.
It's too much pressure on the rice kernel itself. It'll burst on you.
Okay.
So making sure that that's nice and hot at the same time that you add it in here really makes a difference. And all you're looking for here is once the onions start turning translucent and the rice turns a little bit brown, then you know it's time to start adding your stock and other things.
All right.
And just before we do that,
I'm really taking note of all this because I have yet to try and make my own risotto. So I think if I just keep hearing the rules and doing it, eventually I will get there.
and you know, once you know how to make one risotto, it's really easy to make multiple. You just change up what goes into it.
You could do this in your sleep, right? I think this is like,
I've done a few pounds
I'm sure.
over the years.
This is great.
Yeah,
But
we
you're
sell,
right,
we
like
sell
all the
a
different
lot.
flavors, and that's what's great for you from you know, being an owner and a chef of a restaurant. You can take, again, the basics of risotto and change it up seasonally and,
Yeah, there's
and
no
just
end.
appease everybody, right?
Yeah, there is no end to what we can do with it. So then we're going to add our stock. We're going to add a little bit at a time. We're going to take some salt.
And what was your stock again? What was
This is a vegetable
That
stock.
was just vegetable.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of pepper. Now, what's important is that you add some salt at the beginning of the cooking process because all starches need some salt at the beginning.
Okay.
You can add more into just the dish near the end of it, but at the beginning portion of it, you do want to have some salt content in there so that it does absorb into the rice as well.
All right.
And we're going to mix this around. And you're going to add this little bit of stock every so often, bit at a time. Now, the peas are fresh, so they're going to cook very, very quickly. You don't want them to turn mushy. The asparagus, all I did was cut the ends off of them, okay, broke the ends off, and I'm putting them in raw,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
So you got to kind of time the cooking of this. You know that you don't want it too soft, you don't want it underdone, you don't want it overdone.
Yes, that's the tricky thing with asparagus. Like certain vegetables, you know, can handle it, but asparagus needs to be just right.
That's
And
right.
those are just that we were talking about. Those are just those perfectly nice, tiny little asparagus, not the big, tough.
Yeah, and that's what you get when you get
Branchy
local.
ones.
You know, we grow them like this. We pick them nice and young so that they're not those really woody ones.
yep.
You know, there's a lot of flavor that comes out of this. So the other option is you could blanch that ahead of time. If you're really unsure about the cooking time,
Sure.
you could always blanch them, take them out and set them aside and then add them in right at the end.
Okay, okay.
But we're going to do it right into the pan because I do like that asparagus, you know, to have, it does let out some flavor as well into the risotto. So we're going to put that in probably about when it's 3/4 of the way through. And the peas are going to go in near the end.
Okay.
So we do have that sparkling wine that we're going to be using as well. And that's going to add a little bit of acidity.
Can I show what it is?
Go right ahead.
Spumante Bambino.
Spumante Bambino, that's right.
I love this. We were talking about it from when we were kids. I remember it. So,
and for cooking, you know what? It's great.
perfect.
It has the fizziness that I'm looking for. It has the acidity. It
Right.
has some sugars in there.
It has all the elements you need.
the
So
elements.
I think a lot of people would, okay, they know when they're cooking with white wine or red wine what they would use. But when it comes to sparkling, like, what should I put in? So that's why I think it's important that we
The
talk
only
about
thing you
this.
want to look at is the sugar content. I mean, you got to be careful you don't get into something really, really sweet because you know, it might be a little bit too much. So as long as you know the sugar content of it, that's fine. I mean, if somebody's going to cook with Cristal or Dom or something like that, please give me a call. I'm more than welcome to come
this
over
is
as
Miami,
a dinner guest. You know, I'm more than
Miami Beach risotto, that's what
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, exactly.
My
Exactly.
goodness. So you continue to cook that down, and I remember the one thing you'd mentioned with risotto before as well is you're slowly again just adding that broth to it, right?
That's
so it's
right.
it's
a
you have to
balance.
kind of keep on top of it.
That's right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of our thyme and I'm going to throw it in as well.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and we'll finish this one off.
Very good. All right, so we are going to continue to create this, and it does take time. Overall, how many minutes?
I would say at the pace we're going at and the volume we have in here, you're probably looking at about 30, 35 minutes.
Okay. But you know what? We're going to have a break for 2 minutes, and we'll come back, and we'll be pretty much done. It's amazing. Right back.
I am a truth seeker.
A storyteller.
A dedicated volunteer.
I am a caring neighbor.
A customer's best friend.
And a client advocate.
I am a survivor.
A social media junkie.
A proud father of 4 and problem solver.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am.
We are the Hamilton Spectator.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. So we are looking really good when it comes to our risotto here this morning. And we're about to add our Spumante Bambino.
Fire it in.
There we go. Okay, you tell me when.
That's good.
The bubbles. Oh,
There
see,
we
there's
go.
plenty more for us. See, even with a little bottle, we have a lot left. This is good.
There we go. So
Ready.
we're just going to add that near the end. We put the peas and I put the asparagus in first, okay? Then we put the peas in. And now we have that spumante in there. Now this is where you need to finish the dish off and get its velvety texture. So we're going to add some butter to it.
Right. And there's one thing too with asparagus and peas is that they hit that bright, ripe color at a certain point when they're being cooked, right?
Yeah, and you want that nice color. You still want to retain that nice bright green. You don't want that army green. I mean, nobody likes that color in anything.
It doesn't look quite as pretty on the plate, does it?
Exactly.
It doesn't look quite like as spring and fresh as it should.
Exactly. So we got our butter in there.
Okay.
We keep mixing that around. And what we did there, we let that stock almost dry out before we added that. So you can control the liquid.
Makes sense. Just a reminder as well, you can get this recipe because you're going to kind of want to look through the recipe and make sure you're following all the rules when it comes to risotto. And you can get that on our website at terragreenhouses.com. And of course, as a reminder as well, it's our Hot and Saucy weekend here at TERRA. So all of our locations, we're all talking about the hottest pepper plants you can buy. Come in and check it out. And it's a whole fun, it's like a big festival in our store, so it's going to be lots of fun. And why would you not want to be in a TERRA store right now? Because it's so bright and colorful and awesome.
Yeah, beautiful time.
We won't have risotto, but we have hot pepper plants. This is good. We'll eat all this, I'm sorry. But and your big block of cheese.
And my
Amazing.
block of cheese, we're going to shave some cheese onto that.
Awesome. And
fresh thyme.
Magic. Thank you so much, Chef Mark.
Thank
that
you.
looks good. And that'll be great for Mother's Day next weekend. That's it for now. Have a good one.